Why do you cover this? Because I am dedicated to exposing the groomer right and pedocon theory. Guys, you know what's super not cool? This headline. Sex abuse in Catholic Church. Over 1,900 minors abused in Illinois, state says. A new report covering decades names more than 450 credibly accused sexual abusers, including priests and lay religious brothers. Why do you cover this? Because I am dedicated to exposing the groomer right and pedocon theory. Especially now that LARPing as a Catholic is the new current hot thing for reactionaries. Of course, these people, they don't go to church, right? They fake being Catholics. They nonetheless are laying the groundwork for this. How would you prefer the headline be written? What? I'm sorry. Maybe I misspoke. My problem isn't with how the headline is written. My problem is with the content of the headline, the thing that it indicates. This is more than 4 times the number the church had publicly disclosed before 2018 when the state began its investigation. The 696-page report found clergy members and lay religious brothers had abused at least 2,000 children since 1950 in the state's 6 dioceses. Dioceses? Dioceses. It's got to be one of those. Including the prominent archdiocese. Yeah, 6 dioceses. Including the prominent Archdiocese of Chicago. The report adds 149 names to a list of child sex abusers whom the diocese themselves had publicly identified before or during the investigation. Love it when a church sees the state is investigating them and they're like, oh, hold on. We already have this list of child sexual abusers in our ranks. Okay, maybe you should do something about that. You know, literally, it'd be like the feds kicking down a Republican congressman's door, and he's like, whoa, hold on. I already have a list. Look, here we go. This is all the child. What? Like it's gonna save him? Never send any of your kids to boarding schools, IMO. Oh God, no, do not. That brings the total number of identified abusers. None of them are known to be in active ministry. At least 330 are believed to have died. So somehow magically the list they had was all of people who were dead or no longer practicing. Curious. The 149 new names are mostly religious brothers or are accountable primarily to independent religious orders rather than the local diocese and bishops. Investigators interviewed hundreds of victims and matched their accounts with diocesan records and other interviews to substantiate their accounts. Reviewed more than 100,000 pages of files held by the diocese and interviewed church leaders and their representatives. One case among many documented in the report involved Thomas Francis Kelly, a priest who abused more than 15 boys ranging in age from 11 to 17 in several parishes in the 60s and 70s. 3 victims. How many of the victims were indigenous? In Illinois Catholic churches? 3 victims contacted the Attorney General's investigators, including one who had been described as singled out by Father Kelly as an 11-year-old altar server. The priest invited the boy to drive-in movies and to spend the night in the rectory, where the priest offered him beer. The boy awoke in the night to find Father Kelly performing oral sex on him, the report says. The Archdiocese moved the priest from parish to parish, and the Attorney General report notes. The priest died in 1990. That's what they do. That's what the Catholic Church does. When they know they have a pedophile and a child in their ranks, they just move them around so that there's not time for the rumors to build up too much in one area, so they can prey on a new set of children. It's basically like moving them to a new buffet. Yeah, they do the same thing with cops, too. You rack up enough abuse charges and notes against your record in one precinct, and you just get taken up by another where you get a whole new record. Yeah, it goes on for a while. I feel like I've heard this story 1,000 times. You might note, by the way, that 1,900 minors, nearly 2,000, is nearly 2,000 more than the number of minors we know to have been abused by drag queens. The fact that the right is the one who has weaponized the pedophilia narrative is insane and such an optical loss for the Democrats broadly. Because a lot of Democrats would never dirty their hands with pedocon theory as an accusation, but it is genuinely insane. The fact that no Democrat flippantly refers to Trump as friend of Epstein, why not? He's literally a friend of Epstein. He wasn't a business associate with Epstein. He wasn't a person on the black book, i.e. one person who just got flown out one time. They were friends. Insane. He bragged about it. It's insane. They're also friends of Epstein? Some, but not all. It is likely, though, that one of the reasons why the Dems aren't, like, harping on the Epstein thing is because they're aware of the fact that there are plenty of people in their own ranks who are also associated with Epstein, and they don't want to drag that open. Matt Walsh also defended Josh Duggar, who was a Catholic child abuser. Yeah, well, Matt Walsh's opinion on this subject is as follows. The pedophile scandal in the Catholic Church is not a pedophile scandal. The vast majority of victims are post-pubescent teens and young men. The real problem in the church that everyone sees and few will say out loud, gay priests. Matt Walsh is pro-child abuse as long as you're little girls. I'm not kidding. That's his position. That's why he talks so much about the fertility of underage girls. Clinton flew on Epstein's plane 26 times from 2002 to 2004. Only that time frame. Imagine the rest. I really get the feeling that the Clinton legacy might be the big reason they don't go after Donald Trump for the Epstein thing, because they know it would equally implicate Clinton, in which case, like, a sane person would go, okay, Clinton. He was basically just 1990s blue Reagan, like, that guy, you know? But they can't, because, again, a ton of Democrats in power right now got in power during the Clinton administration and are endlessly loyal to it. It's just so crazy how the Republicans are willing to bury their heroes in no time at all. Like, a decade ago, it was like John McCain was their main guy. Not a decade ago, you know. A decade and a half ago, Mitt Romney, whatever. And now they're both rhinos. Like, they hate them. George Bush, they hate him now. Like, they don't care. Republicans keep moving forward and forward, but Democrats are chained to the past. In this case, like an Epstein-laden past. Anyway. Pedocon theory continues to assert itself. You know, and you could say, oh, aren't those priests all gay? First of all, I'm pretty sure the reason, like, priests mostly abuse young boys is because young boys are the ones they spend time with. Like, again, I'm not a Catholic, but as I understand it, in terms of, like, the cultural expectations of, like, children in the company of priests, it's boys, not girls. Like, girls can't be priests. There's not the same, it's a, like, a gender segregated system. You know, girls become nuns. That's a whole different thing. There's plenty of abuse going on at, like, nunneries, too, I'm sure. Yeah, it's like prison. Exactly. Typically, the priests abuse the nuns. Oh, I'm sure they do. And yes, they still abuse young girls all the time, for sure. Jesus, Cordem. Probably a lot of that in Poland. There are a lot of Catholics there. Nearly 5K cases found in Portugal at the beginning of the year. Jesus Christ. Wasn't there a debate that I did recently with a Catholic where I asked how, like, them being a Catholic isn't supporting an institution that, like, kids? What, like implicitly? What? Who was I talking to that was a Catholic that I said that about? Another thing is how the priesthood is seen as a life option for gay men in the church. I don't actually think it has anything to do with the sexuality of the priests. I'm pretty sure it was found in a study that was done decades ago with regards to the kinds of people that child sex abusers prey on, that there was basically a 50-50 split. That the vast majority of child sex abusers were heterosexual men, but when it came to abusing children, they were undifferentiated in the gender or sex of the child they were going after. It's like a whole separate thing. You know what I mean? It's like, because, like, child abuse isn't sex, right? So it would be like, bro, how can this guy be straight when he beat up a man? What? Well, how can this guy be straight when he, like, he go and, like, got in fights with men? What? You know what I mean? Same in prison. Like, there are tons of straight dudes who rape each other in there. Either way, it's bad, and conservatives are bad. That's a life lesson. It's like saying, how can a guy be straight? He raped a male dog. Yeah, literally. Yeah, that's literally, like, that's a good example, I think. Literally, it's like, there's, like, such a disconnect comparing children's to dog. Lol. Oh my god, it's fum dad ass. All right. It's not comparing children to dogs. It's about paraphilia and the abuse of things that can't consent. Children, animals, it doesn't mean they're the same. It's just talking about the abuse. I'm sorry. No, you're not sorry. Nope, you're not sorry, fum dead ass. Get out of here. I'll see you in 2 weeks. This is not the first time